Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Logan, and you are watching the 49th Line. Today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of a sensitive issue, and it is regards to what everybody has seen going on for the past decade since the Liberals got in office. And I'm just going to round it up as the Middle Eastern invasion, because that truly is what it is. No, these people are not coming here forcefully. We, as a country, are actually inviting them by the hundreds of thousands constantly. I just want to practice a little exercise with you guys. If you don't mind, close your eyes, take yourself back to 2015, the beginning of 2015. It's Boxing Day. You're going out with your family. You're going shopping at the largest mall closest to you. You're excited. You wake up in the morning, get dressed, get showered. You don't even make yourself a cup of coffee because you know the best coffee you're going to get all day is from Tim Hortons. You drive down to your local Tim Hortons, wait in line, this big smile on your face. You order your coffee. You drive up to the window. You see a young, probably high school student working a part time job. Could be your neighbor, could be someone that your kids go to school with. You know them. This is your community. It feels natural. I know. Flash forward 10 years. Look where we are today. You drive up to Tim Hortons' window. You don't even know what they're saying when you're trying to order your food. Like, that's not even an exaggeration. I ordered a double double one time. They asked me if I wanted steak in it. Like, yeah, the world is just not the same. They're coming here, they're taking our jobs, and we're just sitting back and laughing. And if you're not laughing, you're crying at this point, right? So, this is part number one of the what I believe to be 5-part series. We're going to go over the start of the invasion and then work our way through to the conflicts that they've brought from their homeland to Canadian soil, the tax dollars it's cost us to fight or defend, and all the other hypocrisies that our government just puts up with and allows on Canadian soil. All right, this is the beginning. There's a story being sold to the Canadian people. It's a story that began in 2015, not with a whisper, but a fundamental reimagining of our country. It's a story that has been told from government podiums, echoed in corporate boardrooms, and reinforced by a media class often unwilling to ask the hard questions. It's the story of the Great Canadian Demographic Experiment. And tonight, we are going to expose the vast chasm that exists between the government's grand narrative and the crushing economic reality that you and me, the Canadian people, are living every single day. Let's begin with the numbers because they are staggering. In 2015, Canada welcomed approximately 272,000 permanent residents, which in hindsight doesn't seem like a terrible number. It's a significant number, but one that was largely in line with the historical averages. But that was just the calm before the storm. What followed, when the Liberals took office, was a deliberate, unprecedented escalation. The targets were ratcheted up year after year. 300,000, then 340,000, leaping to 400,000, and then soaring past 500,000 a year. We are now on path to bring in nearly 1.2 million people in a span of a 2-year period. To put that into perspective for you, we are adding the entire population of the city of Edmonton every single year. This is not organic growth. This is a state-sponsored population explosion. And how does the government justify this? They wrap it in a policy cloak of moral and economic inevitability. Justification number one for you. We have an aging population and a worker shortage, which just, the aging population, because why is that? Young people can't afford to have kids. They cannot afford to buy a house. If you cannot buy a house, you are not going to want to have 4 or 5 kids in that house. Pretty logical to me. Anyways, we need immigrants to pay our pensions and our health care, they say. It sounds logical, doesn't it? But it's a shell game. They never finish the sentence. The full truth is, we are bringing in hundreds of thousands of people who also grow old, who also need doctors, and who also require a pension. We are solving a demographic crisis by creating an even larger one for the next generation. It's not a solution, it's a Ponzi scheme. Using new Canadians to pay for the promises made to the older ones, all while the foundation cracks. Justification number two: immigration fuels our economy and grows our GDP. This is another thing that they love to spew, and it's the most deceptive argument of all. Yes, our total gross domestic product, the sheer size of our economic pie, is growing, but they are counting your prosperity in aggregate, not in individual terms. The only metric that truly matters for you is the standard of living GDP per capita, the size of your slice of that pie. And here, the data from Statistics Canada is unequivocal and damning. GDP per capita has been in decline for years. We are in a per capita recession. What that means in plain English is that while the country is getting bigger, you are getting poorer. Our economy is growing only because there are more people here, not because we are more productive, more innovative, or more efficient. The policy isn't creating wealth, it's diluting it. That's why we have such bad inflation, people. Now let's move on from the sterile government spreadsheets to the real world that you would navigate every single day. Let's trace the direct line from this policy to the crisis dominating your life. First, housing. The government and its apologists will tell you that with a straight face that immigration has nothing to do with the housing affordability. This is an insult to your intelligence, and you don't need a degree in economics to understand that. This is basic supply and demand. We are not magically forgotten how to build homes. What has happened is the demand has supercharged to a level that our construction industry cannot possibly match. The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation itself stated that we needed to build 3.5 million additional homes by 2030 just to restore affordability. Yet, at the same time, we are deliberately adding enough new demand every single year to fill the entire city of Vancouver. The math is impossible. It's like trying to fill a bathtub that has a hole the size of a basketball in the bottom of it. The government is pouring in more water faster than ever while wondering why the bathtub never fills. The result? A generation of young Canadians priced out of the dream of home ownership, rents have skyrocketed, consuming unsustainable portions of take home pay. This is the direct, predictable consequences of a policy that prioritizes numbers over people. Second, let's look at healthcare. Have you tried to find a family doctor lately? In many provinces, over 1 million people are on a waiting list. Emergency rooms are regularly operating with a wait time of over 12 hours. Our system wasn't designed for this. It was designed for a population growing at a manageable rate. The government's mass immigration policy has never thrown a massive, unplanned burden onto a system that was already on life support. It's not the immigrants' fault. They need doctors. I'm not saying they don't. But it's the government's fault for inviting them without first ensuring that we had the doctors to care for them and for you. Third, infrastructure. Our roads are clogged. Our public transit is overcrowded. Our schools are adding portable after portable. The very skeleton of our society is straining under a weight it was never designed to bear. The tax base from these new arrivals does not magically instantly materialize to build new subways and hospitals. Those projects take decades. The people and the pressure they create arrive in months. And who benefits from this? It's certainly not you, the ordinary Canadian watching your quality of life decline. The beneficiaries are clear: corporate interests who get a steady stream of low wage labor that suppresses wages for all workers, university administrators who use international students as cash cows, charging them exorbitant fees while packing them into an overcrowded housing, and landlords and real estate speculators who profit from their scarcity. This brings us to the most profound consequence of all, one that extends beyond economics and into the very heart of our social fabric. When you bring people into a country at a dizzying speed, you make successful integration impossible. Assimilation. It is the process of becoming a part of a shared national community. It requires time, contact, and deliberate effort. This policy actively works against that. It creates parallel societies, cultural enclaves where newcomers can live their entire Canadian lives without ever needing to fully buy into our values, our customs, or our civic culture. Their media consumption remains tied to the policies and politics conflicts of their homeland. Their political passions are often directed overseas, rather than towards the betterment of their new communities here in Canada. Is it any surprise that we see the conflicts of the world playing out in our cities? It's a shock that our public squares become battlegrounds for hatred born thousands of miles away. When we fail to instill a primary loyalty to Canada, we should not be surprised when loyalties lie somewhere else. The social cohesion that has long been our strength is being sacrificed on the altar of rapid demographic change. The government's recent panic decision to temporarily cap international students' visas was not a thoughtful policy. It was a stark, blatant admission of failure. It was an acknowledgement that the system that they created, in their own words, was out of control. But for the millions of Canadians that already are priced out of the housing market, and for the families waiting for a doctor, for the communities or for the commuters stuck in endless traffic, this admission is a day late and a dollar short. So, what is the solution? It is not and cannot be to end immigration. We need immigration. That is not who we are. The solution is to return to a sanity, to balance, and to competence. We need an immigration policy that serves the national interests, not just the interests of a corporate bottom line. We need to tie immigration levels to directly to our demonstrable ability to house and integrate newcomers. We need to shift from a model of mass migration to a model of managed, merit based immigration that prioritizes the skills we truly need here at home and the proven ability to succeed in Canada. Most importantly, we must have the courage to reaffirm that Canada is not just a hotel room on a map. It is a nation with a culture, a history, and a set of values that must be passed on and embraced. We must be unafraid to say that while we are welcome to all people from all over the world, we expect them to become Canadians first and to leave old hatreds behind and invest in their energies and their loyalties to building a better future for us Canadians at home. The question before us is not a minor policy debate. It is a question of what kind of country we'll leave for our children. Will it be a country that prioritizes the well being of its citizens, that manages growth with wisdom and protects the social peace? Or will it be a country that continues down this path of recklessness, irresponsibility, irresponsible expansion, where the quality of life for everybody, newcomer and native born alike, is sacrificed for the sake of political narrative? The evidence is in. The evidence is in. The experiment has failed. It is time for a new approach, one that puts Canada interests first. But the consequences of this failed policy don't stop at our economy, our hospitals, and our housing market. The most visible and disturbing symptoms are now playing out in our public squares, on university campuses, and in the very heart of our communities. What happens when social fabric frays? What happens when people arrive faster than we can integrate them? And old hatreds take root in Canadian soil. In our next episode, we are going to show you exactly what they don't want you to see. We're going to pull back the curtain on how this distinct conflict between Israel and Palestine has become a violent, divisive, and terrifying reality on Canadian streets. We will show you the footage, details of the costs, and expose the alarming truth about how foreign loyalties are being prioritized over domestic peace. This is not a conversation you will see on mainstream news. This is a story they are too afraid to tell you. If you want to understand what's really happening to this country and where these policies are leading us, you cannot afford to miss it. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and pass this message on to your friends and family so it gets past the algorithm, because they will sure try to bury it. And most importantly, turn on your notifications so the moment the next video drops, your story continues. And it's more urgent than ever. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.